Hello, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. I absolutely apologize for what happened yesterday. Um, there was no sound, and I am really, really sorry about that. I really can't apologize enough because, one thing I do is I value time. Time is very important to me. I don't have it to waste, and it's not, it's something that you cannot make up. And so you guys, yesterday when you were on, that was your time. That was very valuable time, and I appreciate it. And I'm doing this over again today to make up for yesterday. And I believe I owe it to you. And there were a couple of things that there was one thing that I wanted to where I complete a little yesterday, and that was about hate. You know, the detriments of hate. I went over it. I went over it a little bit yesterday. You couldn't hear me, of course, but I did it. I don't really want to talk about it too much today. After I'm done with what I'm going to talk about today, I may hit on it a little, but there is one major point. Maybe I'll just do this now and get it out of the way. One major point that I want to make about hate and the detriments of hate is that there are actual detriments. Hatred is detrimental to your life, to your spirit, to your livelihood, to your soul, to your spirit, and even other people around you. Hate and hatred, never good. I gave two examples, and I'm going to hit on those two examples for maybe about 5 minutes, and I'm going to get off of this. I really want to talk about what I'm talking about today. I used Ahmaud Arbery's case to show you how detrimental hatred is and where it can take you. I also use the example of black men, young black men, killing one another, murdering one another because of hatred. It's all because of hatred. Um, and so, those two examples, if I don't talk any more about hate, I can use those examples to show you how bad and the real outcome of hatred if we don't get rid of it. I'm going to talk about to let you know that I'm not partial, I'm not biased when it comes to hatred and feelings of hatred. I'm not biased when it comes to color, race, anything like that. And while I'm mentioning that, let me emphasize this point right here too. Hate is not a feeling. It's not an emotion. It is a spirit. Spirit of hatred. It's a spirit. And by it being a spirit, it has no boundaries. Spirit has no boundary. There are no boundaries when it comes to spirit. No color, no race, no gender, no age, no creed, no nationality, politics, nothing. Hate is a spirit. Let me reemphasize, it has no boundaries. Like I said before, if you can hate your next door neighbor, you can hate your mother. Believe, you know why? Because it's not an emotion. We are emotionally attached to our parents, to our brothers, to our sisters, sometimes to our neighbors. We get emotionally attached, so we're very careful about how, excuse me, about how we treat them, and that we don't let the hatred get in. But like I said before, it's a spirit, so it can cross the boundary. It can cross that relationship boundary where emotions, it's not easily crossed like that. But when you're talking about the spirit of hatred, it crosses all of that because it is spirit. And so, like I mentioned, if you can hate your next door neighbor, you can hate your mother. If your mother does something to you um, that's similar to what your neighbor did to you, you can hate them. Because if it hurts from a neighbor, if you can hate a neighbor for the same thing that they did to you, that your relative did to you, or one of your siblings, your mother, your father, anybody, you can hate them as well, because the boundary is it's not an emotion. And so what we want to do is we want to understand that hate is a spirit. No boundaries. Love your neighbor. The Bible said love tells us to love our neighbor as ourselves. So we want to just love. Love has no boundaries. There are no boundaries to love. Love is a spirit. It's not a feeling and it's not an emotion. It is a spirit. It has no boundary, which means what? That you can love everybody. Doesn't matter about their race, their creed, their color, their nationality, their gender, none of that, because it is spirit. No boundaries. That's a very important thing to know about love and about hate. Now, let me give you two examples. Black men killing one another. I'm going to try to go very fast on this because I've already talked about it. Young men killing because of hatred. It has a ripple effect, and it's detrimental, because if you murder someone, if you kill someone, and they can prove you guilty, you're going to prison. Sometimes for the rest of your lives, depending on who you kill. If you kill a police officer, chances are you may get fried. If you don't get fried, your life is over. You're in prison for the rest of your life. So guess what happened to you? You let a spirit control you. It controlled you to the point of killing someone that in turn put you behind bars for the rest of your life. How do you think your loved ones feel about that? How do you feel about it, as a matter of fact? But how does your relatives feel about that? Your family, your children, your sisters, your brothers, your grandfather, grandmother, mother, father, aunties, uncles, all of those people, they're hurting. You're hurting and they're hurting. Everybody's hurting. But on the other hand, that person that you murdered, that family is grieving beyond grief sometimes. Mother crying. I'm talking to you young black men. Mother crying, shedding tears, can't sleep at night. And if there was no insurance on the young man or young woman that was killed, mom and dad, family, they have to get together and raise money to have your funeral. They're grieving and suffering financially all at the same time. That's very bad. That's what hatred can do to people. I refuse to hate. Absolutely refuse to hate. I'm not going to hate people. I'll hurt, but I'm not going to hate. I'd rather you hurt me than me hurt you. Because I don't want to suffer the consequences of hate. Yeah, so they got to bury them, try to dig up money to bury the young man or the young woman. They're crying and grieving at the same time. And if it's a high profile case, oh my goodness, you can hardly rest. News reporters, you got to go before the cameras, and every time you talk about it, it impacts the grief. Oh, so it's horrible from every angle that you can think of on any level. That's what they go through when a young black man kills another black man. And I didn't even mention the part about his generation is cut off. He'll never have children. Yeah, he'll never see children or grandchildren. No, none of that. White men, police officers, because they are killing young black men, the same thing is happening to them. It happens all the time. Listen, Ahmaud Arbery's case, Heckle and Jekyll, and the other one, I call them Heckle and Jekyll, the McMichaels. You know what I'm talking about in Bryan. That father-son duo was, to me, what's more sad about that is this. This man, as old as you are, you should have known better. You're going to lead your son on in a situation like that. You led your son to prison. I know you're crying. And if I was your son, I'd be so mad at you, I'd whoop your butt in prison. They wouldn't have to whoop you. I'd whip you. Because you're my father. You're supposed to be my leader, my example, my role model, my everything, my mentor, whatever. And you led me down this path, and I followed you. Of course, that son was old enough to be able to make a choice. I'm not going to do what dad's doing. I don't want to go to prison. But they thought they would get away. And that's the trick. That's one of the tricks. So Heckle and Jekyll, the McMichaels, and the other one, they're laying up behind bars right now. And what's going to happen is, if they were married, somebody else may marry their wives, raise their children. And if they had a home, that house that Jack built, guess who's going to be laying up in that house if the person they married didn't have a house? Not Jack, John. John going to be laying up in the house that Jack built because he was foolish enough to let hatred lead him into killing someone that put him behind bars, and they're not getting out. They can fight. They can go to the Supreme Court, the federal court, the middle court, the lower court, every court you can go to. You're not getting out of it. You're going to be punished for what you did to that young black man because you hate him because of the color of his skin. How foolish is that? That is such a fool. That's one of the biggest tricks, like I said before, going on in this country, land of the free and home of the brave, is that you hate another race because of the color of their skin. You're foolish. You're some of the most foolish people, whoever you are. You are some of the most foolish people on the face of the planet Earth because you dislike somebody enough to hate them and kill them because of the color of their skin. You're a surface person. You have no depth. You have no deepness to your life. You're a surface person because this is surface. That's surface. What's in your heart is what God looks at and what everybody else is supposed to be looking at, but you're so caught up in that stupid stuff because my color is different than yours that you're going to murder me. Oh, that's sad. And I'm done with that because I really don't like talking about hate. It doesn't give me a good feeling. At all. At all. At all. So what I want to know today, I got to know today, y'all. Can you hear me? Because yesterday, it was a mess yesterday. I'm so sorry. Hey, Rose, how you doing, girl? I see you there. I see you. See your name. So listen, I want to talk today about vows and what happens to us when we make rash, irrational vows. I'm going to use Jephthah in the 11th chapter of Judges. I'm going to use that to show us another thing, a detrimental thing. Making vows. Let me tell you about it. Judges. Remember I told you about the book of Judges? So much goes on in the book of Judges. So much happens in the book of Judges. So much happens. Look, Jephthah lived in Gilead. His daddy was a Gileadite. They lived in Gilead. His mother was a prostitute. His mother was a prostitute, which made him a bastard child. And yes, they were called bastard children. He was a bastard child. His father had other children by his wife, which made them legal. So if anything happened to daddy, the children that were his real children, not the bastard, they got the inheritance. That was the custom. That's the way it was. Bastard child got nothing. Really got nothing. They weren't supposed to inherit the big stuff. So by that actually being the situation, listen, let me tell you. The sons, when Jephthah got older, the sons, you're a bastard. Your mama's a prostitute, we're putting you out. So they put him out. He went into exile, you may as well say. He ran away. They put him out and he fled. That's what the Bible says. And you know who else had a part in it? And it's going to be proven later. the elders in the city. They didn't like him because he was a bastard child. Bastard children were looked down on very, very badly. Very, very badly. So he went to Tob and he lived there. And actually, at the very beginning of the chapter 11 of Judges, the Bible called him a mighty man of valor. He was a mighty warrior. He went to Tob. While he was in Tob, T-O-B, Tob, whichever way you want to announce it, he hooked himself up with some, well, I won't say he hooked himself up, but these were the people that were attracted to him. The Bible called them scoundrels. These kind of men started coming around Jephthah because he was a mighty man and he learned the skills of war, learned how to war. Listen to what the Bible calls these men that became attracted to Jephthah. They were called scoundrels. In the Greek, they're scoundrels. And scoundrels in the Greek mean worthless fellow, villain, a man without honor or virtue, low, base, mean, and unprincipled. Yeah. These kind of men, were the men that Jephthah surrounded himself with. So over the years, he became mighty in battle. I mean, they used to go around raiding places. Yeah, raiding places and just all kinds of things. So listen, when he grew older, all this going on, the Ammonites wanted to attack Israel because they thought Israel had taken some land for them after they came out of Egypt, and they wanted it back. So they wanted to start a war. Now, check out what happened. Obviously, they didn't think they could win the battle. They wanted a leader and they wanted a captain. So you know what they did? They went and found Jephthah. That's what they did. You know why they found him? Evidently, they had heard the word. Oh, he was a bastard child in the first place. When he left here, we've heard about him. He's a mighty man. So listen, they went and they contacted him. They said, look, Jephthah, the Ammonites are coming to start war with us. We're asking you if you will come back to Gilead and be our captain and be our leader, because we know you can get them. They evidently had an idea of what type of man they were dealing with now. And they went. And they sent for him. And actually they went to him. And so listen. They said, come on. Okay. But Jephthah said, look, I was a bad person. I was no good when I was there. When I was a young man, when I was a child coming up, became a real young person, y'all put me out because you called me a bastard. I lost my inheritance. I didn't have an inheritance. I was not good enough for you, but now your butt is in hot water. You're in trouble. So you are asking me to come and fight your battle. And he said, look, let me tell you what Jephthah said to him. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, verse 7, did not ye hate me and expel me out of my father's house? And why are ye coming to me now when ye are in distress? Yeah. Oh, you need me now, so you're going to come to me now. But earlier I wasn't good enough for you, and that's how people do you. Perfect example. They'll talk about you, run you down. Then when they get in trouble, they come calling on you. And guess what the sad part is? They expect you to go. Jephthah went, but he made them promise him. He said, look, I win this battle. Do you want me to continue to be your leader? He wasn't going unless they would expect him. So he became one of the judges. Yeah. He judged Israel, I believe, for 6 years. Not a long time. I believe it was 6 years. I think it was 6 years. But he didn't rule for a long time. But he did go back and he accepted their challenge. Yeah. So now, let me tell you what he did. And I believe he did this out of insecurity. I believe he did it out of insecurity. I believe that he, now this is my personal summation. I believe he did it out of insecurity. I believe he did it out of because he wanted to be recognized again. Because really, what he was suffering was rejection. His whole family rejected him. His father didn't want him. Put him out. Put this boy out of here. Brothers, the elders, they put him out, and the Bible said he fled. So he went away a rejected person. And rejection is something that a lot of people all over the world are experiencing. At some point in your life, you may be rejected by your family. You may be rejected by friends. It's a very bad, it gives you a very strong feeling of insecurity. That's really what it does. And in my summation, this is what happened to him. So when the elders came to him and asked him to come and fight that battle. Now let me tell you who the Ammonites were. Remember Lot? In that situation with Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah? Remember when the angel came? He told them, God's going to destroy the city. You got to run. So they ran. Lot and his wife and his 2 daughters. So when they got where they were when they landed in the cave, the daughters got him drunk. And each one of them took a night and had sex with their daddy. And they got pregnant. They wanted to reproduce. They didn't have anybody to reproduce with, so they did their father. The youngest girl was the one that had the son named Ammon. The oldest girl had the son named Moab. And if you read throughout the Bible, you'll see throughout the Bible where Israel always came up against the Moabites and the Ammonites. These were descendants of Lot's daughter's children, Lot's daughter's son by their father. Now, how mixed up is that situation? Oh, we think things are mixed up around here. The other mother's brother, the other brother's mother, and all that stuff. This girl, her descendants, you may as well say the descendants of Lot because it's his seed. But the descendants of the child that was born between Lot and his youngest daughter are the ones that Jephthah went up against in battle, the Ammonites. That's who that was. So listen, he went back. He went back with the elders, only if they would promise him. And they made a promise that Jephthah could be their leader. Okay. Jephthah got back, sent a message to the Ammonite leaders, asked them, why are y'all starting war with us? We didn't take your land. This is our land when we came out, all that stuff. So they had this little conversation going between them. But the Ammonites refused to give up the fight. So Jephthah said, okay, we're going to strap them up and we're going to war. And that's what they did. So he started in battle. And he started winning. And he won. But hold on a minute. You know what he did? He went to God. Yeah, he did. Now, I read somewhere that Jephthah, he didn't know a whole lot about God. Because if he did, he wouldn't have made that vow. They say he didn't know a whole lot about God at all. What he did was, before they went to battle, excuse me, he went to God. He said, God, Lord, if you give the Ammonites into my hand, if you let me win this war, when I get home, the first thing that comes out of the door of my house, I'll offer it up to you as a burnt sacrifice. That's the vow that he made. That's the vow that he made to God. God didn't tell him to make that vow. He took that vow upon himself. Yeah, he did it. He wanted to make sure he won the war. If he wasn't going to be sure he was going to win that war, he shouldn't have taken it up. But he did it anyway. And he made that vow. Won the war. Daughter heard about it. He had one child. One child. She was a female. A virgin. No children. Never married. So listen, when Jephthah got home, she saw Daddy coming. She ran out of the house dancing with a tambourine. Ding-a-ling-ling-ling, ding-ding-a-ling-ling-ling. Happy as a lark. That was the first thing that came out of his house. The first thing that came out of Jephthah's house after he made that vow to God was his only virgin daughter. He was jacked up. Hurt to his heart. I'll tell you what he said. Oh, man. This says in verse 29 and 31, Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and over Mizpah of Gilead and Mizpah. He passed over unto the children of Ammon after he went through Mizpah. Now, verse 30. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord and said, If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon unto mine unto mine hand, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. Yeah. Now, let me tell you where he got sore at. Tell you where he got sore at. And but I think you know who was the most sore, don't you? It was her. Lord have mercy. What happened to Jephthah was he apologized to his daughter. He said, Look, girl, I did something very rash. In summary, I offered you up as a sacrifice. I told God, and he explained to her, I told God that if I won this war, that I would give him the first thing that comes out of my house when I get home. And guess who it was, girl? It was you. Yeah. And I want to show you something, but I want to say this. I want to say this right before I read this. In the Bible, vows were vows. Remember I told you, Jephthah made a vow to God that if you let me win this war, the first thing that come out of my house when I get home, whoever, no, let me get that right. He didn't say whoever, he said whatever. There's a difference in whoever and whatever. Told y'all, I'm always up on those words. He said whatever. Look, it's in verse 30. If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon unto mine hand, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh out of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children in Ammon shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt sacrifice. He said whatever. I guess he had no idea that the person that would come running out of that door would be his daughter, his only child and his only daughter. But now, people in the Bible, they took vows very seriously. A vow means your word. And you taking back your word almost meant murder. They kept vows. They were strong on vows. You don't make them. They were very strong on vows. If anybody made any vow to anybody, it had to be kept. You know what it was? It would be a matter, and I'm going to show you to you in here, a matter of life and death. So this is what she said to her father. She said, and she said unto him, after he had told her that she was going to be the sacrifice. And she said unto him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth. For as much as the Lord hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. She understood vows. She understood at a young age that if we make vows over here, they have to be kept, even if it meant me being a burnt offering. Yeah. Let me say hi to a couple of people. Denise, hello. Carolyn, hey. How y'all doing today? Edna, hey girl. Hey all of y'all. Talking about them vows today. At a young age, she had sense enough to know my daddy made a vow. It was a rash vow, but he made it. And he made it against his only child, his only daughter, me. So he has to keep it. He has to keep it. Now listen. So you know what happened, sister girl? She said, Daddy, let me go up into the mountains and bewail my virginity. In other words, I want to grieve over my virginity. Now, two things before I finish with this. Some scholars say, in which most scholars, in which I agree with them, as a burnt offering would have been an animal or something. God has never person to be a sacrifice unto God, holy and acceptable, which is our reasonable service. It means that's the least that we can give God is our bodies. That's the least we can give. But he didn't mean that we will kill ourselves, offer our bodies up in a sacrifice in that sense, but offer our bodies a living sacrifice to him, which means that we will keep our temple clean. We won't put any foul things in our body. We will be clean from fornication. We will be clean from adultery and all of that stuff. That's the sacrifice. And when you're fasting, you're giving up. You're making a sacrifice. That kind of sacrifice. But nowhere in the Bible has God ever. Now, with Abraham, when he was getting ready to give up Isaac, God stopped him. He gave him a ram in the bush, because God does not accept human sacrifices from nobody. The only sacrifice that was used in the Bible, and it was a human body, was Jesus. No more sacrifices. No more physical sacrifices. The Bible said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So Jesus' body was the only body in the Bible that was given up, a physical body, as a sacrifice. And that was so that God would save us, that we would be saved, that we wouldn't go to hell. But that other stuff, and see, let me tell you something. Jephthah, when he made that vow, remember what he said. He said, whatsoever, not whosoever, whatsoever. A person is not a what? A person is a who. Now, that's one indication that it wasn't meant to hurt, that it didn't mean that he was going to put her on an altar and sacrifice her to God like that. God didn't need her body for a sacrifice. For what? Not only that, the only sacrifices that God kept in the Bible was an animal. Animals, and not all animals. There's a list of animals that God wouldn't even accept as a sacrifice. Yeah. So they understood vows, and she understood that. Let me tell you another thing about vows. The Gideonites, they lied to Joshua about who they were. They came to the camp because they had heard after God delivered them. Remember, this is in the book of Joshua. Joshua took Moses' place. So everybody knew about the power of God and how God had brought the children of Israel out of Egypt. They know about the Red Sea. They knew what happened. The only people that don't really believe that is some of us and these heathens out here. But the heathens back there in the Old Testament, oh, they knew about it. They had no doubt. They never even doubted. As a matter of fact, a lot of them were afraid of the children of Israel. That's why they tried to fight them. Because they knew that the power of God was working with them. And when they fought a war, they won. So what the Gideonites did was they went to Joshua's camp because they heard about them coming up on their camp. Being in the vicinity. So listen. They got together and they lied. They put on raggedy. They lived right up the street. Right up the street from where Joshua and them were camped. They put on old clothes. They used old wine skins and put new wine in them, put good wine in them. They made themselves look raggedy, and they walked up on their camp and they told Joshua, look, we know you're our neighbors. We know what God has done for you. And in other words, we're afraid of you and we just want to be friends. But they lied. Joshua didn't do like Moses done. Moses always, and I don't know why he slipped up on this one. Maybe it was for us to learn a lesson. But they told him, we came from a far country. This is what they said. We came from a far country. And look at our clothes. And look at our cats. Oh, we're tired. And we're hungry. The bread that they showed them, old bread. Oh, we came from a long way. And they were just right up the street. They lied. See, they tricked him. They made Joshua make it was the Gibeonites, not the Gideonites, the Gibeonites. They made him make a vow. We're not going to kill you. We promise you, we're not going to kill you. He made a vow with them. They made a vow with them that they wouldn't harm them for any reason, no matter what happened. And there were some other things written within that vow. But to culminate the vow, they wouldn't harm them, wouldn't go to war with them or nothing. Listen, Joshua found out that they had gotten tricked. That's what they found out. That these people were right up the street. They didn't come from no long distance. Brought him back and they asked him about it. And they said, you know what? We lied. In so many words, the summary of it, we lied because we were afraid. They admitted to Joshua that they had lied to them, but Joshua had already made a vow and he couldn't take it back. So what he had to do was come up with another plan. So what he did was to punish them. He couldn't kill them because he already told them that he wouldn't hurt them, that he wouldn't kill them. So he couldn't go to war with them and kill them. But what he did was he made some of them slaves and he did all that kind of stuff. They worked stuff out. But you know what? He didn't break that vow. He didn't break that covenant. He sure didn't. Because in the Old Testament and throughout the Bible, people understood vows. When you made a vow with the person, it was a matter of life and death that vow is kept. And I'm going to show you something else. Let me give you one more example. In the Bible, remember with divorces, and I think I mentioned this maybe a few weeks ago on one of my other videos. Vows are so important to God. He never breaks one. He said we're married to him. Now, God said, I am married to the backslider. If you turn your back on God, he's not going to turn his back on you. You can get out there and turn cartwheels, become a drug addict. alcoholic, have 1,000 babies. But when you done with all that, Jesus will never divorce you. Because he doesn't believe in divorces. If he's married to you, principally speaking, if he's married to you and he dump you, when you leave him, he's not a God of his word. And he showed it to us. Listen, the people, the children of Israel, got to the point that they wanted to start getting divorces. God said, Moses, it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. I don't even believe in divorces. He doesn't believe in divorces. He told Moses, I don't want to do this, but for the people, I would do this. Because you know what was going on? Let me tell you what was going on. The men were married, among some other things, but this is the major reason why. Men were marrying those virgin women. And after the night, or after a while, they would want another wife. And they wanted to get rid of that woman and go marry another one right away. If you can't cook, I don't care how much sex we have. If you can't cook, I'm getting rid of you. I want another wife. Or if your sex ain't good enough, I'm going to get me another one. I'm going to leave you alone. God had to do something about that. So Moses went before God. That was the only, and I mean, they had to do some stuff to get that righting. That was the only reason that they were giving a divorce. Now, let me tell you, you couldn't just get one. You couldn't just go to Moses and say, I want a divorce from this woman. A lot of them, what they were doing, like I told you before, they were marrying those virgin girls. And they were wanting to get rid of them too quick. And so you had a lot of women running around there with no husband. And who wanted to marry you if you were not a virgin? Men wanted virgin wives. It's not like it is nowadays, all willy-nilly and silly. Hardly can you. I don't know how many are out there. I've never researched the statistics. I don't know what's out there. But I know I wasn't a virgin. And I don't think a whole lot of us listening were virgins when we got married the first time. A whole lot of us were not. But back then, men wanted virgin women. And they would get them. And they were getting rid of them so bad that Moses had to go to God about this. So what happened was this. They made this a rule, they made it a custom, and they made it a law. If you marry my daughter and you want to claim that she was not a virgin when you married her, we're going to get you. We're going to have some proof. So what they would do, they came up with this as a custom. When they got married, when the virgin and this man got married, they cut a fool in the Old Testament. They cut a fool back there. God got so tired of the children of Israel going to other gods and doing stupid stuff until, look, he told Moses, I'm going to kill them all. I'm going to kill them and start all back over with you. I'm going to kill all of them. I mean, they really cut a fool. So listen, what they would do to prove that the woman that they married was a virgin, when you all got together, the night that they had sex, they would put a cloth on the bed and they would have sex on that cloth. Yeah. And it probably had to be pretty big because, be all over the place. But anyway, listen. They would spread a cloth on the bed. And when a woman is a virgin, unless her hymen has been broken some other way, normally when you have sex for the first time, and it's the right sex, I ain't talking about no little, y'all know what I'm talking about, we grown folks, I don't want to have to spit it out. But when she gets penetrated to the point that her hymen is broken, out of her comes blood and water that establishes covenant. And I know it establishes covenant. I got proof. There's several ways. That's called the token of her virginity. That cloth would become the token of her virginity because it would show that when they had sex for the first time, there was blood and there was water. And what they would do is they would take that token and they would give it to the parents of that virgin. Ooh, this is some good teaching right here. Take that cloth and give it to the parents. And they would hold on to that cloth. So if this knucklehead, if Heckle, will come back and say she wasn't a virgin. When I married this woman, she wasn't a virgin. I want a divorce. I want to get married again. Oh, no, you're not. You're going to die. Listen, that's what they had to do. So what they would do is, if a man would come before the elders, and that's what they had to do, the parents would bring that token, put it before the elders at the gate. The man would come, and they would spread that cloth among the elders, and the elders would be able to see that there's blood and there's water. Blood and water. This is the token. Now, you lied, because we got our proof right here. You lied. You can never, you stuck with her. You stuck with her the rest of your life. You can never get rid of her. Now, if you can prove that she wasn't a virgin, and when you had sex with her on that night and there was no blood and water, she's not a virgin. Get rid of her and she could lose her life, get stoned to death. That's how they did. That's how important vows were in the Old Testament. And they're just as important. God hasn't changed. He said he's not, he doesn't, he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Now, the way that we do things now, that was their custom. That was their way of getting a divorce. We don't do that. That's not the American style. Oh, and they also did this. The children of Israel were not the only people that did this. Egyptian people did that, and so did people in Syria. Syria and Egypt. That's how they proved that women were virgins or not virgins when they got married. Because you can't make a vow. You were not able to make a vow and just say, oh, willy-nilly, I don't want to be married to you no more. Oh, we do that all day over here in America. We have no understanding, no idea, nothing about vows. We don't care about them. It's just like saying, I'm going to the store tomorrow. And oh, well, I changed my mind and I'm not going to the store tomorrow. No, it didn't work like that when it came to making vows and getting married in the Old Testament. No, it didn't. And God is concerned about us making vows right now. He's concerned about it. So, what she did, and it was a custom for years. She told her daddy, let me go up to the mountain. And I want to bewail my virginity, which means I want to lament over my virginity. Because remember, she could never marry again. She could never marry. She'd never been married before. But she couldn't marry. So she would never have children. And her father would never have grandchildren. Never have she couldn't smell a man. He couldn't touch her, couldn't kiss. Oh, can you imagine not being able to get married? You can't smell them. You can't touch them. They can't kiss you. You done. Your goose is cooked as far as that stuff goes. So she had to live a virgin life the rest of her life. She said, let me go up to the mountain. And what she did was she grieved for 60 days. And she took some women up there with her to grieve. She came back home. The rest of her life, no husband. No husband. No children. So once a year, from that point on for years, once a year, for 4 days in the year, the women of that town will go up and mourn her virginity. Yeah, the Bible said became a custom. Read the 11th and 12th chapter of the book of Judges, and you can read everything that I'm telling you. It's good. It's good to study the Bible. It's good to read the Bible. And so, we should feel differently about vows than what we do. Jephthah, he made a rash vow. I tell you what he didn't do, though. He didn't say, I will sacrifice myself, did he? He sure didn't. And he didn't make any vows about him doing anything. He said, my house, look, God, go over there. And if you help me to win this battle, go right over there to my house. In my house, not me. Go in my house. Whatever comes out of there first, I'll sacrifice it. He had sense. He had sense enough not to make God a vow about anything concerning him. Yeah, he had sense enough not to do that, didn't he? Yeah, and he didn't do it because he knew what he was doing. He understood the power, the impact of a vow. And so did she. She was willing to grieve her virginity. The Bible says she grieved it. Look, let me tell you this. Let me read this right here to you. Oh, it's sad. Um, mm, mm, mm. This isn't it right here. Um, mm, mm, mm. Listen, whatever the case, she didn't marry again. She lived a virgin life the rest of her life. Never married. Never married. She understood vows. God, let me tell you what Ecclesiastes 5 and 4 and 5 says about vows. Verse 4. When you make a vow, this is the amplified version. This is not the King James version. When you make a vow or a pledge to God, do not put off paying for it. For God takes him. Pay what you vow. Verse 5. It is better that you should not vow than you should vow and not pay. Yeah. So, and the thing about it is, God didn't ask Jephthah to make that vow. He voluntarily made that vow. God doesn't tell us to make a vow about a lot of things. Now, we sing that song, I made a vow to the Lord and I won't take it back. I made a vow. You made that vow. I made a vow to the Lord and I won't take it back. Oh, I won't take it back. No, I won't take it back. You made a vow. You made a vow to the Lord. Well, what was that vow? I made a vow to him that I won't turn my back on him again. And look, God really, you know what? I didn't even have to do that. But I tell you what God knows about me. What he knows is I know not to make him a vow, because when I backslid and I was losing my mind like that, and I went to God, I told God in prayer, I'm not going to promise you, God, that if you heal my body, I'm going to get up here and serve you. I said, but right now I know that if I die, I'm going to hell, and I don't want to go to hell. I need you to heal me because you're the only one that can help me. I didn't make God no promise because I know God well enough to know you can't trick him into healing you. You can't trick God into healing you. You can't manipulate him. You can lie all day long. But God is one person that you can't buy, you can't sell, you can't manipulate, you can't deceive. If you think you're lying to him, you're lying to your own self. If you think you're fooling him, you're fooling your own self. You ain't fooling me, you fooling you. You ain't fooling me. You're not fooling God. You can't fool him. You can't trick him into doing nothing. So the best thing to do is when there is something you feel is so urgent and it's so intense and you want God to really know, oh, I really want this, God. Oh, if you do this for me, God, I'm going to really do that. This is so, oh, God, this is so bad on me. I need your help. I promise you, God. We do that a lot, don't we? And I did it. I promise you, God, that if you get me out of this, if you do this for me, I'll do that. Oh, we do it all the time. And then when you're all happy lappy, God has fulfilled your promise to your promise, and you got your goodies. Then you're gonna lay back in the cut. Lord, I sure shouldn't have made that vow. Oh, you sure shouldn't have. The best thing to do with God is let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. God, will you do this for me? I need you to help me with this. And if you do this for me, I would really appreciate it, God. That's all God asks for. He doesn't ask you to go into debt with him and get your butt in hot water with God because you made a vow. You promised him you're going to do something you don't do. Don't do that. Just tell him, look, God, I need your help. If you do this for me, I'll really appreciate it. I need you to help me with this, God. If you don't help me, it won't be done. But most people that make vows to God like that, They're insecure about some things. So they're not really assuring God, because God already knows. What you're trying to do is convince yourself that if God does something for you, that you will do this. And what you do is you forcefully obligate yourself to do something for God because of what he did for you. You don't have to do that. We don't have to do, you don't have to make rash vows to God. You don't have to, there may be some things that he may ask you to do. And if you do this, excuse me, for you, I'll do that. But I really can't read a lot of places in the Bible where God required you to make a vow to him. That's us doing that. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody find some scriptures, you find some allegories, you find something that's based on principles, or you find me some illustrations in the Bible, some narratives or something to show me that what I'm saying is not true. But I really don't believe that there's a lot of places in the Bible where God obligated us to make a vow to him. I really don't. So we do that mostly for us. God, if you get me out of this marriage, I'll do so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Or God, if you heal my body, I'll do so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. No, healing is already promised to us. By his stripes we're healed. His stripes, so you don't have to make God no kind of promise that if you heal my body, God, I'll do this and I'll do that. He's already promised you that he has already said that by his stripes we are healed. You're healed if you believe. Now, sometimes maybe we make those vows to God because we don't really believe we're going to do stuff. But we feel like in our heads, if I make a vow to him, I'll do it now because I know I got to do it. But you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. That's why a lot of times when I'm on here, I tell you, if it's God's will, I'll meet you next week, or I'll be on here talking about so-and-so, if it's the Lord's will. And that ain't even a vow. I didn't even vow nothing to God before I came on here. I didn't vow God nothing. And I don't make no vows to you about nothing. I'm not vowing nothing. I'll say to you, if it's God's will, I'll be here. But vows are something that are very precious in the sight of God. It's your word. My granddaddy used to always say, your word is your bond. You are your word. And we know that that's what God says. God says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was God. Yeah. In the beginning was the word, and the word was God. You can't separate them. You know what it's like? It's like you trying to separate your dark skin from your skin. You see that surface right there? You see that dark surface? It's like you're trying to pull the skin off of that darkness. That's not coming out. You can't wash that off. Ignorant angles. I was getting ready to say something, but I'm not going to say it. You can't scratch this. Get no eraser and erase that. Any more than you can divide God from his word or separate God from his word. You are your word, your character, what kind of integrity, all of that. Oh, you know what? Oh, when I get my money, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to buy so-and-so. Oh, I've done it before, but I didn't vow to do it. Oh, I promised God. Oh, God, if you give me this money, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and oh, I'm going to do all this stuff. Well, God, if you give me a car, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go there. I promise you, God, I make a vow. I vow to you, God. Don't do that. It's best not to. Just tell God, my yea is yea, God, and my nay is nay. And just say, God, I need a car. Will you bless me with a car? I'll be grateful to you for this car. Now, if you're lying and if you're not going to be grateful, you're still lying. But don't say, God, I promise you so-and-so, unless you just want to do that and you know that you can keep that promise. If you can keep that promise, you go right along and do that. Vows, when a man vows, boy, those vows that we read when we get married. Oh, I wrote a poem about it. Oh, I wish I had my book with me. I would share it to you. A marriage vow. When we make those marriage vows, oh my goodness, do we really? I think, you know what I think about marriage Nowadays, a lot, I don't think people really, really understand what they do when they make a vow. Maria Ritchie, hey girl, how you doing? Oh my goodness, it's so good to see your name here, girl. How you doing? We gotta talk. I gotta call you. You gotta call me. Some guy, my Cleveland friend. Oh my goodness. Listen, I got to say hi to all y'all. Y'all know that again. Denise, how you doing, girl? Lying people. Listen, the agendas that people get married to these days. A vow, you're making a vow, and you know in your heart you have a hidden agenda. I'm marrying this girl because she got it going on. She got a lot of money. And I don't have as much money as she got. I'm going to marry this girl. I'm going to make her feel real good. Ooh. And I'm going to lie to her about what I got. So she'll think I got that. Because if I don't lie to her, she may not marry me. And women, gold diggers, the same thing. How good well you don't care nothing about that old man. You don't care nothing about that old man. But you'll stand your butt up there at that altar and lie like a dog through sickness and health, poverty and wealth, until death do us part. When you know all the time in your heart, you only marrying that man because he's old, he got some money, he likes you. And you know what? Some of those old men, they know you're too young for them. They know you want their money. But guess what? It's a verbal lie. Because I'm young and you know all I want is your money. It's an you know what? You got something I want, and I got something you want. So let's stand up here at this altar and let's both lie. And we are in agreement with this lie. Some only marry women because they're pretty. I don't care nothing about you. You pretty. And you make me look real good. And I stand up there and vow. And when she gets old, or if she's in a car accident, or if she loses her teeth, her hair start falling out, she get cancer, what you gonna do? She ain't pretty no more. What you gonna do? You gonna leave her on that bed? No, but you vowed to stay with her. Sickness and health. Oh my god. Oh, this girl looking old now. Look, life has hit her up real bad. I got to find me another woman. Look, we can't go and lying are two things that you rarely hear any preaching on across that pulpit. But there, we're going to stand before God for every idle word. If you lied and you knew you were lying when you stood up there at that altar and you made that vow, don't you know God, that's on your record? God keeps a record. And we need to be taught the importance of vows. A VAW, not a VOWEL, but a vow. When you vow to somebody, I'm going to be with you, girl. I don't care how ugly you get. I don't care. And they start looking at those other, go sleeping with them other women. Fat around it. It's hard to have sex. Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about. This may sound comical, but it's as true as all outdoors. They'll want to leave. Now, you really need to lose some weight. If you love your husband, try to lose some weight. But he didn't marry you and say, okay, if you don't get fat, I'll make this vow to you. Then he got a right to divorce you if you get fat, because you went back on your vow. See? But listen, I'm fat and I'm ugly now. My hair falling out. I don't look pretty no more. So that vow that I made with you up there at that altar is null and void. But God saw that, and he is going to deal with us. Oh, I pray to God that I don't have no vows out there. Ooh, but I did some promissory notes when I got those loans, and I'm asking God right now, help me, God. I signed on that dotted line that I will pay that money back, and I'm going to pay it back. I haven't said in my heart that I'm not, and when I got it, I wasn't being deceitful like, oh, I know I'm getting this money and I'm not going to pay it back. Ooh, but I got loans. I have student loans. And you know what? Sometimes they bother me because I haven't paid them off. But I'm praying, I'm asking God, help me to pay them loans off real good, God, because I got that money from those people. And then we borrow money from people. And we vow to pay them back and we don't pay them. We wouldn't have people mad. I'm not going to make God no promises. I'm not going to vow things. In my heart, I spoke it out of my heart. After I acknowledged the fact that I wasn't going to do that. The rest of my life, I'll fast every whatever day that was, I told him. I started to make that vow because remember what I told you earlier. Sometimes we make vows to God, not for God, but for us. Because we think if we make that vow, because it's a vow or a promise, that we'll keep it because we made it to God. And, ooh, I got to keep this vow. That's the wrong attitude to have about making a vow to God. When you make a vow to God, in your heart, it has to be in your heart, God, I'm going to do this. And come hell or high water. And God will help you keep it unless it's some kind of vow that doesn't make sense. God's not in stupid stuff like that. Don't play games with him like that. He's not a game player. He really looks at the heart. And I don't pray for my children. I don't pray for my family, my mother. I don't pray for nobody. I pray for my heart. That's the first thing I take before God, before I get off into anything. I pray for my heart, that it be pure, that I will be honest, that deceit won't set in my heart, no wickedness, no unforgiveness, no hatred. Every time, give me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. That's my first prayer. That's my big, because blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Not bless those that speak in tongues a whole lot or that pay tithes and offerings real good. No. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Your heart is the most important thing about your sanctified walk with God. That's right. Not how much you speak in tongues or how good you preach and teach or sing. Gifts. Gifts. Doesn't matter to God about your gift. Gift. What is gift? No. This thing right here. Your heart. That's what. So that's why we ask God to always give us a clean heart. Like David said, give me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. Give me a clean heart so I may serve thee. Lord, my mind, all of that. I want a clean and a pure heart. If you make a vow, Make sure that in your heart, you're not making it for foolishness. You're not making that. But I told you sometimes we make them because we're insecure. We don't think that we are able to do what we said do. So if we promise it to God, we'll really do it. But that's when the enemy will use it, because he knows that when you said that, you didn't really mean that from your heart. You thought that if you would say it, that you would really do it. But that's not the way it should be. Do it and then say it. Remember those two men? I don't exactly remember. I think it was in a parable. I don't know what it was, but it was talking about these two men. One said that they wouldn't go and they went. One said that they would go and they didn't. Shirley, hey! I didn't see you guys. Hey, Sister Huggins. And Shirley, hey! How you doing? But you know what? If you just want to make one and you sure you can keep it, make it. But God does not require us to make all of these vows. He doesn't require this. He wants our bodies as a sacrifice, of course. A living sacrifice, holy and acceptable. And our bodies is not dead. Oh, listen. The way we know that Jephthah did not offer his daughter's body as a sacrifice is because actually she really said it. She really said it. She came back, and when she came back, when she came back and she said to her father, was it when she came back? When did she say this to her father? No. When she came back, he didn't kill her. When she came back, she started living that life. You are covering it offline. I better not be offline. But let me just get off here anyway. Good. The lady's body was not offered as a sacrifice. Her virginity was. Because remember, when she went up to the mountain, that's when it was. When she went up to the mountain, she told her father, let me go up. Let me go up to the mountain and bewail my virginity. So if it was her body that was going to be sacrificed, why would she go up to the mountain and be from a physical sacrifice? It came out of her mouth. It was confirmed out of her mouth. Let me go up to the mountain and grieve my virginity and come back. And she came back. And when she came back, it's the way she lived the rest of her life. Yeah, that was, I think that's a perfect example of how we should not make vows like that. Because I'm sure if Jephthah could have taken it back, he would have. But like I said in the Old Testament, oh, if you made a vow in the Old Testament, that was it. That was it. I don't care what you said. I don't care what you did or what you said. When you made that vow, people kept their vows. And we need to learn a lesson. Because I told you, a lot of this stuff is not being taught across the pulpit about lying. The Bible says you won't tarry in God's sight. So it must be important that we don't be liars. A liar will not be judged. God ain't going to spend no time with you. A liar. A liar. But how many times do you hear a whole sermon on lying? People coming to the altar wailing and weeping. Now we'll come wail and weep when we fail with the man. Because we think lying is a lesser sin. Or when our feelings have gotten hurt. It's something we weep and we moan and we cry about a lot of things. But lying, how many times is there an altar call? So if there are any listen, if there are any liars in the house, or if you have been lying, come up to the altar and get some deliverance. Let us pray for you. And people laying all out. Oh, God forgive me, I lied again. But how many times will you lie? Are you a liar? Because a liar is a person who continuously lies. I'm saying when it's a lie to the point of you're saying it to willfully deceive people. Now, sometimes we can say things we intended to do something and we didn't do it. I wouldn't call that necessarily a lie. That's why we should always say, if it be the Lord's will, I'll do this or I'll do that, or I'll go here and I'll go there. But when you willfully, deceitfully, when you say something to someone and it's not the truth and you know that you're saying it to deceive them, you're lying. And if that's your practice, then you are a liar. Liars are people that practice lying. Sinners are people who practice sin. I'm not a sinner. I'm a sinner saved by grace. So I'm saved. I'm not a liar because I don't practice lying all the time. And when I say something and I can't do it, I have to ask God to forgive me. Because I said I was going to do that, God, and I didn't do it. I didn't promise, but I said I would. So, let me say a goodbye to you. I thank everybody for listening to everybody for listening and watching. I'm asking God for something else that I can teach on, because I love teaching. I love narratives. If I could, I would just get on here and just do a whole lot of narratives. But I have to have a point. There's always a point to a Bible narratives. Bible narratives are not in there for naught. There is a moral. There's a lesson. There's there is something in it. Bible stories, Bible narratives. They have principles inside of them. Like this one with Jephthah. The principle about this is, don't make a vow that you cannot keep, or watch when you make a vow, or don't be too quick to make a vow. That's one of the lessons that can be learned. In every narrative, there's a lesson, like the one with Gideon. And there's so much, and I would love to come on here and just talk about them, and I'm going to, because I love Bible narratives, and I know that sometimes we don't hear them in church a lot. Because it's time to tell you a whole story. They hit on that and they quit because they got to keep it moving. But I like to go into detail about them. I like to go into deep detail. I like the I like the historical part. I like the spiritual part. I like everything about a narrative, because I love and I love to tell Bible stories. So God bless y'all. If God be willing, I will see y'all one day next week. I really can't say when, because I'm not in a position right now to do a whole lot of this. I don't have my printer with me, and I need my printer. I need all of that stuff. So God bless y'all. I love everyone who's listening and those who will listen later on. And I pray to God that you heard something today that will help you in your walk with God, or just help you, if you're not a Christian, to just live a better moral life. But I'm praying that you are not, if you are not saved, that you will give your life to God, and that He will help us, because He can and He will, and He said He would help us, you know, to live like He wants us to live, to be happy, to be joyous, to live a clean, pure, holy, sanctified life. That's what we pray for. So God bless you all, and I will let you know when I'm coming on again. And be blessed. And look, whatever you do between now and the next time I see you, don't make the vows that you can't keep now, because God is going to hold us to them, whether they're to God, and God also hold us to vows that we make to other people. Now, what we can do when we have made a vow, and I'm going to say this before I leave, a side note, what we can do when we have made a vow to a person, listen what we can do. We can go to that person of this vow, and if they relieve you of it, you got it made. But don't just go around and you've made a vow to a person and you're ignoring the vow. You don't care how they feel about it. You won't even ask. You won't say anything about it, and you vowed that to a person. God doesn't like that. It's not good, and it's not good integrity. That's not integrity. Remember we talked about integrity? So God bless y'all. In the meantime, if you made a vow and you can't keep it, go back to that individual. Ask them to relieve you of that vow. And pray to God that they have mercy on you and relieve you. God bless you, and I'll see you again.